Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Hello, Jeremiah, Minnie, Silver. Hello, friends. How are you all doing today? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I don't need this up yet. Good morning, Clara. Hey, Meme. How's everybody doing? How was everyone's day yesterday? Uneventful? Hey, that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing at all. I will take uneventful any day. You know? Mine was decently uneventful. I went and did some work for the play that I'm doing in, what, a week and a half? Doing some lighting stuff, prepping. Great. I didn't watch the news and worked in the yard. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Definitely some positives to not watching the news. Only issue I find doing it is then you get like plastered with a ton of things and you're just like, ah! But it's also important to just step away every once in a while. So I get it. Did I get my housework done? Not all of it. Mostly because I had some other stuff I also had to do. Today, actually, I have to leave early. I have to leave at 11:30 because I have some other stuff that I need to do at noon. So today is just going to be another busy day. They come back tomorrow night, so. Hey, Angel. How are you? You're peachy? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. What I like to hear. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Aaron. I've been tomorrow I have an appointment out of town, so no news tomorrow for me. Heck yeah. This whole Graham Platner thing is, you know, it's interesting. I think Graham Platner should step down, but I also think that this is the problem that we're going to have. You know, of are there going to be any people that are really going to fit whatever mold we have decided in our head? And I'm asking that to myself just as much as anybody else. I don't think he was another plant. Do I think he was the right choice? No. I don't think he was another plant. That's my opinion. If I'm being honest, I think he was someone who had a sketchy past and has gone through a lot and has changed, but he's just got too much in his past. There's just too much there. I actually still think he could be a good senator, but after everything that has come forth. Now, the one thing that I struggle with is how close to the deadline of when the Democrats can put somebody else in this came out. That is the one thing that frustrates me, is they have to have, like, basically, if Platner does not leave by Sunday, I think, then there is not going to be any other candidate. We've all been jaded, shell-shocked, and have no trust. Yeah. Now, again, that does not, in my mind, mean that he should stay into office, but also, really? I mean, there are people that are saying that it's the establishment Democrats that did this to get him out, so they could put probably Janet Mills in, because that's what's going to happen. You know, that's what's going to happen. If Platner leaves before Monday, Janet Mills will be the nominee. And to be fair, Silver, you still could be right. You could be right that he was another, that he ends up being, that he could have been another Fetterman. I just don't see it, but here's the thing, Meme, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Who would have thought Trump could win? That's my one statement. Who could have thought Trump would? Now, I know the Democratic Party is different, but sometimes I wonder if the Democratic Party in Maine is different. I think our bar's on the floor if our line is SA. I mean, that's true. And unfortunately, I think our bar is on the floor at this point, because it's like, do what other people are going to I mean, again, not knowing the absolute truth of whether or not everything that was claimed against him is true, or like this claim is true. I mean, as someone who definitely didn't have a past like that, but definitely had things in their past that could come up, why would anyone want to run? Yeah, Silver, but also we're dealing with a lot of fear. And they're tired. And they're frustrated. Can we just clone Mamdani? We're already hearing the whole socialism is just killing us crap. Again, this is the hard part. This is the thing that my brain is going through. Like, I firmly believe he should step down. It just also makes me struggle. Communists all. No, he wouldn't get elected in a lot of states. He probably wouldn't have gotten elected in Maine. Oh, I get it, Silver. And again, I'm not sitting here arguing for him to stay in. I firmly believe that he needs to step down. I struggle to see a moment. I struggle to see a situation where we're going to get the kind of candidates that we want to get right now. But hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe we'll get people that will step up. I just know now we're going to get, you know, the choice for Maine is most likely going to be a Janet Mills, who is far from what I would say is a great choice for a different reason. Is she better than Platner at this point? Yeah, probably. And that's the thing that I struggle with is I feel like I don't know. Yes, just has had too many issues in his past. And yes, even you can be a great person, like you could have done bad things, learn from it and become a good person. That does not mean running for office is right for you. And that's a reality, right? Now, again, I want to make this clear because I think here's do we as a country still want to believe in innocent until proven guilty? And I'm asking this as a very general statement, not just in this case. Like, can we actually say that anymore? And do we actually still believe it and want to believe it? Again, this is not specifically having to do with him. This is something that I've been noticing all around. I understand there's a difference between guilty in public opinion and guilty in a court of law. But that's the part that I struggle with. Again, when you've got a party that is more than willing to lie through their teeth about everything, it makes me struggle to believe anything. Yeah. And that's the part I struggle with, Silver. It's not he should have known in our current environment that his past would have been too much. But also, you know, he I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. When it comes to someone in power, they don't get that grace. Okay. I just worry the people, the kind of people that we want to run won't, because of the way that works. Because not believing women when we make these complaints may be even more dangerous of a path. Yeah, they're both dangerous paths. And that's the problem. And I'm not sure there's an easy fix for it. Again, Chris, this was not specifically for having to do with Platner. I want to make that clear. Hey, Kiva. Good morning. Good morning, but worth noting, if Mitch McConnell is brain dead, no longer alive, or on life support, his constituents need to make a statement to the American people. His wife is in China. True, Lori. And hey, Linda. Hey, Garpu. Again, it was just a question. It was a question and maybe that's it. The problem is for too long we didn't women haven't been believed. The problem comes is we still don't do a good enough job believing women when they make the accusation. Again, it probably just still comes down to accountability, right? Someone coming forward publicly about rape, sexual assault are more inclined to believe them because they aren't believed. I feel you. I got you. Again, I'm not. I want to make this very clear. This is not trying to say that we should do this with Graham Platner specifically. This is just something that I have been thinking about for years now when it comes to how we as a society work. Because that's a problem. I mean, we can definitely have that guilty, just guilty straight up. I mean, I've experienced it. where years of me doing quote unquote the right thing is gone in a second because at least in my opinion, something perceived. I don't know. It's hard. Platner did put the Dems in a catch-22. Absolutely did. Although I would argue that as a society, we're in a catch-22. Yep. Yeah. Again, there are no defense. I think he should drop out. Arguably, he should have dropped out earlier. Now, again, I don't like the fact that most likely that means Janet Mills is going to be the choice. He's been problematic from the start, but I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think we all did. Because we saw someone who we hoped would fight for us. She technically didn't. So it's up to the Democratic Party if he leaves before Monday, I believe. Like the Democratic Party can put someone in. So I don't know what they'll do. I just assumed it was Mills since Mills was considered the establishment choice. I mean, maybe Philip, since it's only Maine specifically, and he has lost a lot of support because of this. I also heard a rumor Heather Cox Richardson might run, and however that works if he does drop. Well, I guess we'll find out then. He has, like, I think he has to be out by Sunday or something like that. I'm the hearsay group. We'll find out. We'll find out what happens. Pushing him hard to drop out today. I mean, I think in the end he will. I think in the end he will. I think it's just going to be another Same situation as Swalwell. They'll put out videos that deny it, but then they'll drop out. Swalwell. Yeah, and it's pretty much been silent since, which is the funny thing. I mean, it's not funny, haha, but it's like he was all like, yo, I'm innocent, and talking about, you know, going after people, and I've heard nothing since. Not even a peep. I hear you, Aaron. I hear you. DSA types are already blaming APAC and other things other than Platner. Not a surprise. And that's really the question that I had, Chris, is where can we reasonably hold the bar and where we want the bar to be. So if he leaves early septic, they the Democratic Party can run another candidate. He has to drop before Monday though. How's the heat? Hot. So freaking hot. As Platner said, what he put out a video right after the story released denying the charges, or the denying what the woman said, denying the statements. That's not surprising. He didn't can't imagine he would have done otherwise, whether he did it or not. And my view on it is he's got too much baggage. He's just got too much baggage. To be fair, I don't trust anything any politician says, really. No one knows anything about McConnell. What's up, Scott?
Well, good morning. Obviously, a lot of stuff hit the fan, so to speak, after we got off live yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, you know my feelings on Graham Platner from day one. For 6 months, I've been saying that other shoes were going to drop, and now they have. Simply put, his candidacy is no longer tenable. It's not an issue of if he will get out. The issue is when he gets out. I think it'll happen either today or tomorrow. Just so people understand the procedure from here. The state law does not have any guidance as to how the Democratic Party in Maine selects a new candidate. It's up to them. The two processes that are being floated, the 100-member committee of the Democratic statewide committee has said that they will not choose the new candidate. They will either have a caucus, a series of caucuses throughout Maine, or they will have a pop-up convention on July 25th. Platner has until Monday to drop out. The Democrats, in order to replace him on the ballot, have until July 27th to choose a replacement. So those appear to be the two main ways that the Democrats will go about it. A lot of people potentially could be the replacement. Obviously, Janet Mills is being talked about because she was the person who was running against him. I would hope that they would select somebody else, even though, as you know, I like Janet Mills a lot. Janet Mills is very popular in Maine. Janet Mills is 79. There's a reason that Platner won that primary so easily.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that. People were well aware of the problems surrounding Platner. They weren't happy about it, but they didn't want somebody who would be 86 years old at the end of her first Senate term. And you know who I want, probably the same guy you want, Jordan Wood.
Yeah.
He lost his primary. He is available. And there's another reason why I want somebody who wasn't running before to be the nominee. I'm a little bit worried about progressives being in their feelings when Platner gets bounced and not supporting someone like Janet Mills. If you take someone completely outside of it, like a Jordan Wood, I think he could attract both progressive and more centrist Maine voters, and would have a real shot against Susan Collins. But the bottom line is Democrats shouldn't fool themselves. This is a mess.
Mm-hmm.
This is an absolute mess. This is catastrophic. It makes it not impossible, as I wrote on Discord. It's not impossible for the Democrats to take the Senate, but without Maine, it becomes very difficult.
Mike, I find it hilarious that you talk about morally bankrupt when we have a president who has been found literally liable of SA and still became president.
And a 34-time convicted felon. And by the way, Mike, I'm sure you save your disgust then for the state of Texas, which has nominated another criminal in Ken Paxton. So I'm sure I didn't see you bringing up Ken Paxton. Let's talk about moral bankruptcy there, too. What about Ken Paxton? What do you think about him, Mike? Not Mike, the host, Mike in chat.
I know.
Because if you're not going to criticize Ken Paxton, you have no right to be criticizing Graham Platner or the Democrats in Maine. And I've had plenty to say about the Democrats in Maine choosing Graham Platner. As a witness is your host, Mike. I've been saying it for 6 months that this guy was trouble.
Yep, you have. And I straight up said that I was not an absolute fan of his. And if I was living in Maine and I had to make the choice, I would have very much struggled with the choice because of the things that have come out about him. But it also wasn't my place to tell people what they should do. I didn't live there. I could tell them what I didn't like about it, why I didn't like it, what I did like about him, and why I liked it. And that is my responsibility as doing what I do. But I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah, it was up to the voters of Maine, and they did make their choice. And I was not happy about it, but I was satisfied with it that they had a chance to speak, and they spoke overwhelmingly for Mr. Platner. But the data also shows that they kept saying, the same voters who said, "Yeah, I'll support Graham Platner as long as nothing else happens." Well, a lot has happened since they made that choice, and not just yesterday's bombshell. There's the sexting scandal. I mean, there's allegations of physical abuse, if not SA, against other women besides the one who's making this charge. The bottom line is, look, it doesn't matter at this point. His candidacy is no longer tenable. His progressive support is running for the hills. I mean, everybody, even a big one was last night after I went to bed, was Elizabeth Warren withdrawing her support. That's just about the last shoe to fall. And as I said, his candidacy is no longer tenable. The issue is who the Democrats pick to replace him. It appears that besides Mills, that there are 4 solid candidates. There's Shayna Bellows, who's the Secretary of State, Troy Jackson, the Senate Majority Leader, former Senate Majority Leader. I may mispronounce this, Vivran Shah, who is the Secretary of Public Health, and of course Jordan Wood, who we've already mentioned, who I believe that's the one you interviewed, right? Jordan Wood?
Jordan Wood is the one I interviewed, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that guy came across super. And folks, here's a little plug for Mike's videos. If you haven't seen the Jordan Wood interview, since there's a very good chance he'll be the next candidate, go watch it. I think you'll be as impressed with him as I was.
So Graham Platter he won his primary, but he can still step down.
Yeah, again, to repeat, he has until next Monday to step down, and the Democrats have until July 27th to replace him on the ballot.
And to the person who said, now we believe the allegations, we never didn't believe any of the allegations. We never said we didn't believe any of them.
And this is just the latest shoe to drop. I mean, this guy's been trouble from day one. Even his backstory is a fraud. The up from the bootstraps, working man. What bullshit? He's a rich kid who went to Hotchkiss, and even his oyster farm, it's his mother's restaurants that buy up his oysters. Just everything about this guy stunk to high heaven from day one. Well, in my opinion, did. And I wasn't too shy about it.
Well, and again, what does this ultimately show us? The issues that we have as a country when it comes to our politics, what our politics has turned all of this into. It's Roll Tide, girl. I think it's sad that Republicans thought that our current president was a good choice. See, we can always say it. Stop making generalized statements like that. That doesn't help the problem. All you're doing is making people frustrated and annoyed. And seriously, please stop.
Mike, what makes this such a bitter pill to swallow, and the ultimate lesson here, go ahead and fall in love with a candidate, but that doesn't absolve you of the responsibility of vetting your candidates.
Sure.
This information about Graham Platner was out there all along, and nobody was looking for it. And you've got to vet your candidates. And that goes for the Democrats as well. They've got to vet their candidates. The people on our side of the aisle tend to fall in love with people all the time and turn a blind eye to things that we shouldn't be turning a blind eye to. So the moral of the story is, it's great to love a candidate. Now vet them and make sure that there's no skeletons about to come tumbling out of a closet, or in Mr. Platner's case, cascading out of a closet.
Again, Roll Tide, girl. Stop. Literally, a white supremacist group went into Washington, D.C. to support the president of the United States. Please stop it with this whole thug thing. Again, I think he should step down. That's not the part of the conversation.
Yeah, Jamie, you make a good point in chat about the tattoo, but the tattoo is just one of many issues with this guy. The Reddit posts, the denigrating of women who claimed SA. Little did we know that he would be accused of it himself. There's a long history here, and now it's frankly irrelevant. He's going to be gone. Let's hope we learn the lessons, that you vet your candidates. And for those Republicans in chat who are salivating over this, quite frankly, in my opinion, you have no moral standing to do that. Look who you put in the White House, and look who you're supporting to be senator in the state of Texas with Ken Paxton. So please save your pearl clutching for somebody who gives a shit.
And Zach, it is not too late for Platner to step down. He has to step down by Monday, and then the state Democratic Party has a couple options of how they can put in a new candidate. Graham is now qualified to be president.
You know, in a way of looking at it, I guess so. And you're welcome. Thank you for the thank you in chat. To go over it again, these are the two choices that the Democrats are looking at. They have three choices, really. The 100-member Maine National Committee could choose the candidate themselves. It appears they don't want that responsibility. So they're trying to set up either a series of caucuses to take place throughout the state between now and July 25th, or have a pop-up convention on the 25th to select a new candidate. They have until the 27th to effectuate a new candidate.
What if he doesn't step down? Then he's the candidate.
If he doesn't step down, he's the candidate. That's correct.
I mean, I think it would. I think the chances of him winning are very, very slim if he doesn't step down. But that is technically how it is. He won the primaries, and there, I'm sure, are some specific rules on what can like certain things can happen, but it's like,
yeah, he won the primary. He's the candidate unless he steps down. And I do agree with Mike completely. His chances of defeating Susan Collins now are not very good.
and again, this is the reason that I'm bringing this up. This is the reason that I wanted to talk about all this, because we are dealing with a lot of problems when it comes to our government, our politicians, all of that stuff, because we have allowed so much that yeah, holding people accountable is going to be painful, and it's going to be hard to find candidates that meet what we want, because most of the people that are candidates that will meet what we want aren't going to be the kind of people that would run for Senate in general. That doesn't mean there aren't any, but I think it's going to be harder to find them than we think. Asking, you're right. It is a crazy that's a low bar.
Unfortunately, the bar has become very low over the last 10 years throughout American politics.
And again, we as a country we as voters made it that low, especially when we voted in one who was found liable of doing that as president twice. It's the same problem that we have with all of these different. Hey, Patty. all of these different things that we're dealing with.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they go about choosing. And we'll see. I mean, the obvious choice would be Janet Mills. She got the second most amount of votes. I'm not so sure they're going to go with the obvious choice. I think that they will go younger. I think they received the message. She had the backing of an awful lot of the establishment Democrats, and she got absolutely destroyed by Platner in the primary. I think that that's a message that, although they like her, Janet Mills is a very popular governor, but she's 79. And the Democratic electorate definitely chose to go younger, and that's what I think the caucuses or the Democratic convention would do, but we'll wait and see.
Winnie, Maine voted blue for president, but they have voted red for Senate, obviously, because Susan Collins is the senator. So
Yeah, I mean, you underestimate Susan Collins, and boy, I can't stomach her, but you underestimate Susan Collins at your own peril. She's been a senator for a quarter of a century in a state that votes blue presidentially, and she's been counted out more times than I can even begin to imagine, and she always seems to win. So Susan Collins is a very formidable candidate.
Dems vote Platner over. Oh, it has nothing to do with Susan Collins being a woman. Can't you just keep him on the ballot and stuff the box? I mean,
I don't quite understand that.
I think they just mean someone doing write-in candidates or something like that.
Yeah, a write-in candidate isn't going to cut it.
See you, Kiva. A lot of Vi people now see a career in politics as a reasonable path for themselves. They know they are horrible people. And again, that's us. That's us. That's that's our fault. We have spent decades, not just one decade, we're talking decades of not holding our representatives accountable. So it shouldn't be a surprise that we're at this point. They'll still vote for him between Collins and him. Some might, yeah. How many? I don't know. Again, it's hard to sit here and I don't know.
The problem nationally is that if you're looking at the chances of a Democrats retaking the Senate, Maine was a linchpin for that. You had to win in North Carolina and Maine, and then you had to take two more out of Ohio, Texas, or Alaska, and potentially Iowa. And that's not easy considering all those states went for double digits for Mr. Trump in 2024. If you lose Maine, it doesn't make it impossible for the Democrats to take the Senate. No, it's still definitely possible. It just becomes mathematically significantly more difficult.
Sure. And the reality is there could be some of these outliers that we don't think are happening that we could get surprised. Who the heck knows?
Oh, absolutely. Keep your eye on Iowa. Keep your eye on Nebraska. And I wouldn't be surprised to see something funky happen in South Carolina either.
Yep. But even, I mean, Montana is a lot more a lot more in the middle than people like to admit. South Dakota, the guy running for South Dakota for Senate there is a pretty cool dude. I don't know what his chances really are, but I interviewed him and he's an amazing guy.
No, you're right, Mike. And the surprises are going to come most likely in more rural states because they're suffering in ways that we don't quite understand because we don't live there. And yes, they are traditionally Republican states and Republican by a decent amount, by double digits. But this is going to be a very strong Democratic year. And if there are going to be any upsets, they're going to take place this year. So, certainly the ones that everybody's looking at are Texas, Ohio, and Alaska. But also there's Iowa, there's Nebraska, there, as Mike said, Montana. And just keep an eye on South Carolina, because Lindsey Graham isn't even popular among Republicans. So keep your eye on South Carolina. And in case people are wondering what the polling shows in Ohio, Alaska, and Texas, give or take, it's all over the place, but it's all over the place in a very narrow margin. Bottom line is all three of them are toss-ups.
But yeah, I know a lot of people are looking at the independent in Montana, but I'll say this again: if you want someone who's really going to fight, look at, and you haven't looked at Alani Bankhead, the one who won the primary for Senate. You really should. Literally, that woman has spent her entire life fighting for people. I mean, she literally hunted traffickers and terrorists her entire life.
Now, there's talk of her dropping out.
No.
She's not going to. Okay.
She's already talked about that. There was a worry that she was going to do the same thing that they did in Nebraska. Was it Nebraska or was
making room for Osborne?
Yeah,
in Nebraska.
Yeah, she will.
And Osborne can win. Osborne could take that seat. I'm not saying he will win, but he's got a boxer's chance at it.
None of the candidates are socialists, Tony.
Yeah, Tony, I don't think you want to put too much money on that. If I were you, I'd save my money. The Democrats are going to take the House, even with the tilted playing field towards the Republicans, thanks to the Supreme Court. I am, but the difference between you and me, Tony, is I actually base it upon facts. You base it upon some sort of fantasy land that you live in.
You don't even know what socialism is, Tony. You're just repeating words that you've heard other people say. Ah. Okay. What is socialism? Oh, never mind.
Tony has gone on the trip to St. Elsewhere.
Yep. He can come back tomorrow if he wants. For some reason people do, which is wild to me. Oh, no, you're not coming up, dude. Ah! They always think that that after getting muted that I'd actually bring them up. Oh, yeah. Again, it's like saying... if you want to say somebody is a socialist, that's fine. You can say that. In the grand scheme of things, they're just words. And as we've learned far too often, everyone can put a slightly different twist or meaning on any of these kind of words. So it's like, if you're going to say that, tell me what you think what socialism means to you. And then let's talk about how they are or are not socialism.
Well, I doubt that they're going to take you up on their.
Of course, they're not,
Mike, because, and have you noticed that 2 months ago they weren't now in all the comments? He's a communist. He's a communist. The Democrats are communists. 2 months ago that wasn't a thing, but now that the Republicans can't talk about the price of health care, they can't talk about the price of gasoline, they can't talk about the price of groceries, they can't talk about the cuts coming to Medicaid, they can't talk about the cuts that have already existed in the ACA. So what do they come up with? they're a communist. And sure enough, like lemmings, their minions just keep repeating it in chat without even knowing what a communist is.
And I know he can't, Deer Tracks, but he's not the first person that I have asked that question to. And none of them, and most of them haven't gotten muted. Most of them just don't answer or just go on to something else. And again, that's fine.
And by the way, what's Medicare and what's Social Security? It's a form of socialism if you want to look at it that way. So what? It's one that the American people love.
Why he got muted? The mod's job is to help keep track of or help keep the area safe. It's their I have give them reign to mute as they see fit. They know how we do things here.
And, politics has become, despite what Tip O'Neill said 40 years ago, that all politics is local. In fact, all politics has become national now. And it's going to be extraordinarily hard for the Republicans to take the House or to maintain the House, given that they have a president with about a 35% approval rating. That's going to be next to impossible for them to hold on to the House, even with the tilted playing field that they have achieved through gerrymandering.
Yep. Again, I think this election is going to, and maybe I'll be wrong. I'll be the first to admit that everything I'm saying right now could completely change, especially because everything, like, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I think that what's going to end up happening in the election is going to jar people in a way that no one expected. In a good way, in terms of how I think it should go. And
I tend to agree. I mean, take a look at the 100 elections that have taken place since 2024. Republican turnout is terrible. Democratic turnout is very robust. The Democrats have been winning those elections by an average of 16 points above where they performed in 2024. I haven't seen movement. I've been looking at this stuff for 50 years. I haven't seen movement like that at all, ever. So, yeah, there's going to be some surprises here. And I think most of the surprises will come from rural America.
AOC. Newsweek has a great map showing Trump's approval in every state. It's a disaster. It really is. I mean, this little thing right here used to say Trump has destroyed rural America. Rural America as a whole is struggling so hard right now. And there literally is just so many interviews with people who said, I voted for him because I believed he was going to help us, and he's destroyed us.
That's exactly correct. And the big shoe to drop will take place 2 weeks after the election, the midterm elections, and that will be the cuts to Medicaid. It cannot be emphasized enough how important Medicaid is for the rural healthcare system. And according to the Rural Healthcare Association, 50% of the hospitals in rural America are in danger of closing. That is catastrophic. That will create healthcare deserts throughout rural America, and they know it. And it will also take away the best paying jobs in those counties.
KP, who is the Democrat running in your seat? Susan Collins. Susan Collins does not have an essential tremor. She's got a Parkinson's tremor. Different. I know because I have Parkinson's.
And in chat, somebody said, yeah, but they voted for it. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. But we're past that now. And the issue is what's going to happen in 2026.
Honestly, what do you do for work, Vic? You're on my live 5 days a week.
Yeah, Vic, how's your job going? Why aren't you working, Vic?
Last I checked, there were 24 hours in a day. Jeez. Time to start. Is it time to start distancing from Bernie? I know he votes against Republicans, but man, he has hitched his wagon on some questionable people. I have never liked, it doesn't sound like you're working right now. It sounds like you're on a live. I've never liked the idea of endorsements. They are popularity contests, which is not what this should be about.
I agree, Mike. And I also wonder about the efficacy of endorsements. Do they really even work? Yeah, we had Beyonce hanging out with Vice President Harris all throughout the campaign. Did that really help her? Did that really help her? I don't think so. You're trying to attract voters who couldn't afford a Beyonce ticket, and then you're hanging out with her. I'm not so sure that endorsements mean all that much. Graham Platner certainly caught lightning in a bottle. His message was something that the Democratic voters in Maine clearly wanted to hear. He was a young candidate, and the voters throughout the country have shown a proclivity to want to elect younger candidates. So, but unfortunately, he blew up. That's why I tend to think that while I guess the smart money would be that they would pick Janet Mills, I think that they won't. I think they're going to go younger.
FSB window inspector, while I am against purity tests, Wendell, enough of that. You literally had the Patriot Front, who supports Trump, in DC. It's the last warning on that bullshit. While I've spoken out again and again about not liking purity tests. Grape allegations, I don't believe falls under that purview. No, but they vote. And they literally are a schmatzy party. It's literally what they are. Oh, moving on from Bernie. Gotcha. I mean, again, can people make mistakes? Of course they can. I think there's this weird idea too that we as voters have to get it right every time. Like that's possible.
And by the way, I'm not one for constantly defending Bernie Sanders because I have a lot of issues with Bernie Sanders, but he has not come out and supported Platner. He just has kept quiet so far after the latest allegation. Elizabeth Warren was keeping quiet yesterday too and finally broke her silence. I would expect that what Bernie is probably doing is speaking with Platner himself and not wanting to add to public pressure, but I'm certain he's telling Platner he has to step down.
Who supports them? The president supports them. Lots of people support them, Wendell. That's the point. That's the problem. Stephen Miller supports them. Republicans, by the way. What do we say when and if he gets voted in? What should we say? I mean, I'm not going to say what all Republicans are saying every time something new horrible comes out that Trump says and just be like, "Oh great. I'm going to call him out when he does and says absolutely wretched things." That what else am I able to do? The bar has been lowered, unfortunately. That is a fact. The bar has been lowered sub basement, and it's frightening.
Well, to answer the question, what should we say if he gets voted in? To begin with, he's going to drop out. But let's go along with your construct and say he doesn't drop out and he stays in and he wins. Well, then the voters of Maine have made their choice, and we have to live with it. That's what we say. It's up to the voters in Maine. It's not up to us.
Yep. I think the bar has gotten lower than it used to be. Yes, when it comes to politics, to an extent, the bar has always been decently low. But shouldn't he be prosecuted? Well, I'm assuming if those allegations came out that if he actually didn't do it, he's going to actually defend himself. That's if there's evidence, yeah, he should absolutely be held accountable for it. I mean, people supposedly there's evidence for it. I say if there's evidence for it, then yeah, he should be held accountable for it. Absolutely, 100%.
Sure, let the chips fall where they may. It's the same as with the Epstein files. Oh, well, they're Democrats in the Epstein files. Okay, fine. Prosecute them too.
That's between Graham Platner and the woman. Now again, I think he should step down and spend his time defending his honor. April, I saw you requested. Did you actually want to come up? You've just never requested before, so I wanted to make sure. And if he's found guilty, he should step down, and then I guess the governor would. It's not between Graham and the state of Maine in terms of the actual allegations. In terms of whether he gets voted in, sure, that's between Graham and the state of Maine. But in terms of the physical allegations, that's between Graham and the woman. Again, that is an issue with our court system, and I completely agree with you. And I have I understand that court of public opinion and court of law are two separate things. I think he should step down. 100%. I've said it again and again and again. I can't do anything else. I can't force him to step down. I can't force the people of Maine to not vote for him if he doesn't step down. I can't force them to do anything. I can give you my opinion. That's all I can do.
And not to kick the dead horse of Graham Platner, but this is far from the first allegation that's serious about him.
Sure.
Far from it.
Absolutely.
And as for the legal process, presumably, if there's evidence that this, enough evidence that a prosecutor can bring a case, I have no doubt that he will be prosecuted. But that's a completely separate issue as to his political viability. Onion, he has other instances of physical handling of other women, but to my knowledge, this is the only one that has
Involved
brought up the
SA.
issue of grape.
Yeah. I mean, sitting senators have been prosecuted. New Jersey lost one.
Yeah, Bob Menendez. You can ask him about prosecution of sitting senators.
And I want to say this very clear. The only party that is doing anything in any way to actually hold their people accountable has been historically Democrats, at least in the last 10 years. That does not mean that they should not do better. That does not mean they are getting everyone. I'm just saying, if we're talking about a party that has done any amount of holding people in their party accountable, sorry, Vic's gone for good. I'm done with his bullshit. He can go hang out in another live while he's at work.
Yeah, quite true, Mike. For the Trump supporters in chat or elsewhere who are enjoying this and talking about holding people accountable, quite frankly, you don't have any credibility. Look who you supported for president. Look who you're supporting for Senate in the state of Texas, Ken Paxton.
Yep. And again, this is the problem that we need to deal with. And hi again, April. Did you? I asked you. I don't know if you heard. Oh no, you took away the request, so I'm assuming you didn't want to come up. Yeah, I know, Jamie. That's why he was gone. I was willing to let his BS go for now. We are at a point where if we want to actually fix the problems, both sides need to be unwilling to support the same thing. If we as a country cannot sit here and say someone who has committed rape cannot be in office, both sides then we cannot, then there's nowhere else to go from here. We're just gonna keep doing this back and forth bullshit.
Yeah, Reno will come down to the voters, but Platner's going to almost certainly step down. And the issue is how the Democrats of Maine go about selecting their new candidate. They don't have much time. They've got to get it done by the 27th.
Jamie, and I understand the perspective of disappointment. My only pushback on it would be is we have a lot of people that are tired, they're frustrated, they're scared. And I think to say that the that what opened the door for someone like Trump to become president is not also in existence on the left would be to ignore the realities we're experiencing right now. I agree that the solution can't be another rapist. I totally agree with that. I just believe I think this is one of those we're dealing there's a lot of issues that we are dealing with that we can't that are going through people's minds that we can't just and Luna, that is a perfectly 100% yeah. And I do not blame anybody for feeling that way. I feel that way. Hell, I've made how many videos about that kind of stuff? What's up, Suge?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Hello, chat. Hey, Scott.
What we are seeing is what fear has the ability to make people do things that they would not normally do in a way that nothing else does. And again, it's not to say that people should vote for this man. I just want to make it clear. We are dealing with a scared country. It's not just the right, it's not just the left. We're all scared in different ways. Fear will make you completely ignore everything that you believe in some cases. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just pointing out the realities. I'm in no way justifying people voting for whoever they vote for. That's why the MAGA cult is so strong. It's fear-based. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what we as a country have done pretty much consistently. Our country has used fear to control what we do for a long time. How concrete is the evidence here? I don't know. I have no idea.
Again, the main thing with Platner is the totality of the evidence. There's just been a mountain of stuff coming out about him for the last 6 months. It's just one shoe. And if you think this is the last shoe to drop, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you. There'll be more.
Can we keep going as a country if the Republicans take over again? Can we keep going as a country? Do I think things will get worse if the Republicans take over again? Yeah. I absolutely think things will get worse. Sure. But keeping going as a country is it assumes that I know exactly what's going to happen even tomorrow. In what way? I think the ultra wealthy will get more wealth. I think we'll go even more in debt than we already are. I think marginalized communities will continue to suffer more. I think the cost of living will continue to go up. You think TikTok is my life? Okay. You can think that. You think this is an echo chamber? Okay.
Okay. Even if it is, so what? So we're literally pointing out things that are not correct or not accurate or not right. So even if it is an echo chamber, if we're speaking the truth and we're having a healthy dialogue about it, so what? Okay, you win, echo chamber. Go ahead. Now what? Now what would you like to say?
Well, not only that, Papa, if that person has been listening to this channel for more than a week, they know that the last thing it is an echo chamber. Mike, his panel, and chat disagree on all sorts of things all the time. And we do it respectfully and we do it honestly. We have the same fundamentals. Sometimes we have different tactics to achieve those fundamentals.
I mean, Todd on the tube side, a lot of people are calling for Platner to drop out. A lot.
Yeah, Todd, his support among the progressive community in the last 24 hours has pretty much vanished. I don't know too many people standing by him at this point, and all indications are that he will drop out. So the issue is, where do the Democrats go from here, and what does this do both to the election in Maine and more importantly for the rest of us who live outside of Maine? What are the chances of the Democrats taking the Senate? Obviously, this hurts. There's no getting around it. This is a mess.
Copium, you don't even know what you don't even know what communism is. You knew it. I know you can't talk anymore, but I think that's funny that that's the response. Is again, this is where it comes down to. This is what it comes down to. If we cannot agree on the definition of something, or at least I don't know what your definition is, how can we have a conversation about it? You think that this live is communist. That's fine. You can think that. I disagree with you. But that's because I know what communism is, and you know this is definitely not a communist live. My live is authoritarian. It's my way or the highway. Just being straight. This is my live. I let people talk. I push for an open and honest dialogue, but it's still my live. This app gives me the right to make it so no one can talk, and the only person that can talk is me. Because this is not a government. Doesn't Maine have ranked choice runoff voting? Well, yeah, but that, I mean, the voting already happened, so he is the nominee.
Yeah, Ambrosia, the primary is over, and Platner won the primary. The only issue now is what the Democrats do to replace him. And again, Platner has until Monday to drop out, and the Democrats have until the 27th, July 27th, to replace him on the ballot.
Yeah, Ambrosia. I don't think it. I mean, I guess maybe technically it can. It's at this point, it's up to the state Democratic Party to decide how they choose the candidate. The 13th is Monday, Bien.
Yeah, Ambrosia, the person who finished second was Governor Janet Mills. She's a very popular governor, but wasn't a popular Senate candidate. The knock on her with the Democratic electorate in Maine is that she's too old. She'll be 79 when she takes office. She'll be 86 when she finishes her first term, and they want to go younger. Will she be the nominee? That's certainly possible. But the other names that are being bandied about are Shauna Bellows, the Secretary of State, Troy Jackson, the former Senate Majority Leader, and I cannot pronounce this. I'll try. Virov Shah, the Public Health Director, and the person who Mike interviewed, Jordan Wood, who lost his primary for the Congress and is now available. So those seem to be the four names that are bandied about the most.
Silver, I love the overarching idea of communism as an overarching idea. I love the idea of everyone working for the betterment of other people and no one specifically owning. Now, again, it's not. You're right. It would have to be a global thing for it to actually work in that method. So it's fine. I don't mind living under a different system. That's never how it goes. It's never happened. No one has ever actually tried to run a communist country. It's not that it's never how it goes. They've never actually tried. So when people say it doesn't work, that's not really true because no one's ever actually tried.
Oh, by the way, Papa, I forgot to say hi to you. I know you said hi to me. I was busy typing when you said that. So how are you this morning, my friend?
Maybe he's driving. I don't know. Sounded like he was driving. Idiotic statement. Okay. I mean, like, you're allowed to think that. It's one of the reasons that I don't think it would ever work, because it would ever work in its actual form, because too many people, especially right now, would be so against it, they would literally, by their very nature, destroy the possibility of it succeeding. You have to have a different mentality to live in a society like that. And that's fine. Again, I'm not sitting here trying to make it happen. Nope. They never tried it. It was never tried. It was always a dictatorship to start. And they just used some aspects of it to get people to think that that's what they were doing. If you actually look at how the governments were run, they were always a dictatorship from the start. No, it hasn't. It never has been. She still voted for Brett Kavanaugh. Yeah. Yes, this is MAGA's midterm argument. Yep. Again, a word is just a word. You can call yourself whatever party you want. I could call myself any name under any party idea that I want. It doesn't matter. No country has ever actually tried to run as a socialist or communist government. They haven't. You can disagree with me all you want, and that's fine. I'm also not pushing for a pure communist or socialist government. Never have been. I actually think the best way to do it is to take bits and pieces from different ideas and turn them into something that actually works for all the people. Because this is not working. I never said you said that. Other people are saying things too. Dear tracks. Just remember, I'm talking to all of you. Mike Johnson admitted if they lose, they're going to be investigated for all their crimes. Yeah. I find it hilarious that they're complaining about constant investigations when that's literally what they've been doing for the past year and a half.
Yeah, it's hilarious listening to James Comer talking about we don't want investigations when that's all he's been doing since Biden was in the White House. And by the way, they have every right to be afraid of investigations because that is precisely what the Democrats will do if they take either of the two houses. With taking the House doesn't come a whole lot of political power, but comes the power of subpoena, and that is an awesome power, and the Democrats will use it.
Capitalism has not lifted more people out of poverty than any other system. It's just not a true statement. Because again, what makes poverty? Who decides what the poverty level is? What is poverty to you? Who decides what poverty is? You're right. The federal government does. And right now, poverty level is making less than $16,000 a year, I think. Something like that. It's like $13,000 or $16,000 a year. That's what's federally considered poverty line. You couldn't survive in this country on $30,000 a year. In a lot of places, you couldn't survive on $50,000 or $60,000 a year if you were starting out. I can't survive on 80. It doesn't include government benefits. You only get access to government benefits. What? What does that have to do with anything? Poverty line qualifies you. Yeah, but I'd rather people be able to survive than have to get these benefits. That's the point. They haven't pulled people out of poverty. People are living most of the country, a majority of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. A majority of the country has to decide between paying their rent or paying for medication. A majority of the country is literally is using credit cards for necessities. People are cashing in their 401k to pay their bills. That's poverty. To the extent that it's happening now, yeah, it just started happening. It's been gradually getting there over pretty much the last 10 years, but it was never this bad. I mean, not since what? Around the Great Depression? If there was no poverty, we wouldn't need government assistance. We'd still need it because, again, it would just change why it exists. Everybody has things that happen that they don't expect. The problem is not that government existence exists. It's that we as a society don't do anything to actually help people get out of the need for it. If you get $1 over whatever number they give you, it's gone. All assistance is gone, as opposed to getting over this low number to begin with means you can actually afford to survive, which you can't. You're making $80 an hour and still can't afford to buy a house? That's wild, Julie. I think, again, I'm going to say this again. I think there has been too much in Graham Platner's past to look at these statements and decide that he's admitted are true, to decide that these allegations are completely false. I think there is too much baggage for him to be able to be an effective senator at this point.
And look, it's important to draw a distinction here. It's really important to draw a distinction. I keep seeing in the comments, well, he hasn't been convicted in court yet. Look, becoming a president, becoming a Supreme Court justice, becoming a United States senator or congressman is a privilege. It is not a right. Therefore, the bar is lowered as to what is acceptable behavior, or rather, the bar is lowered as to what is unacceptable behavior. It doesn't have to reach the same level as a criminal conviction to say, well, he wasn't criminally convicted, so it's okay. And as Mike said, this is the one of many instances of Graham Platner's baggage. This is really just the cherry on top of the sundae. They're the Reddit posts where he said that women who were SA'd shouldn't drink so much. Derogatory comments about rural people and African Americans. There was the Yahtzee tattoo. There was the texting scandal. It's just one after another with this guy, and it's been just a constant deluge since he entered the campaign. And the bottom line is here, nobody vetted him, and he should have been vetted. And, well, here we are.
Here's the thing when it comes down to, you know, the problem with every war is always there's this feeling that you need to go down to the level of the person you're at war with in order to beat them. We always forget that the people that we're at war with probably are not good people. And they'll go even lower. They don't have a problem going lower. They will always go lower. That's the problem that we're dealing with here too. I feel the need to fight back as much as anybody. But if we just keep going low because we see the other side going low. Oh, okay. Then all that's going to do is exactly what has been done, which is cause the other side to go lower again. That's happened. It happens every single time. Accountability needs to be accountability.
Wendell, you seem to be obsessed with the Carter years, which I remember very well. Can I ask why? Well, what's your point?
And the prices went up 22% under Biden because we were in the midst of a global pandemic.
And by the way, inflation topped out at 9% under Biden. So I don't know where they're coming up with this 22% crap.
I don't know either. But
Yeah, Fish. That's it's a pretty hard point, and it's pretty sad that that's the case. We've come to a place where in the name of the ideals, or like Mike said, in a lot of cases in the name of the fear of what one side is pushing versus the other, people have let stuff slide, and it shouldn't be that way at all.
what do you think Biden did to cause prices to go up over those 4 years?
Oh, for God's sakes, we're coming out of a pandemic, and the United States had lower inflation than any Western economy. The World Bank under Biden in his last year called the American economy the wonder of the world. That's funny. Nobody's calling our economy now the wonder of the world.
Not to mention a large chunk of in terms of overspending, Trump overspent more than Biden overspent.
Yeah, Mike, but at least Trump's getting good value for his overspending. I mean, the reflecting pond turned out beautifully. This fair, all 5 people who attended had a wonderful time. You know,
Dems did not get smacked in 2024. Trump won by 1.5%.
If you need to leave your bag, you gotta protect it again.
Oh, you already know. Already know.
The last balanced budget, the only balanced budget. I haven't had a balanced budget in a long time. Has there been any other balanced? But when was the last balanced budget before Clinton?
Nick, he only won by 1.5 points, number one. Number two, the Republicans only picked up a few seats in the House. That's why they have such a small majority.
They had a 3-point majority, Wendell, in the House and a 3-person majority in the Senate. That's not getting smacked. I hate to say it. It's actually, that's not. But thanks for playing.
Trump won the election. He won it by 1.5 points. It was a close election.
Yeah. And those 6 million voters just went independent. So what? You don't need to be associated with any party to vote for the party. All swing states.
Yeah. Okay, Wendell. And with the exception of Arizona, they were all close.
Kamala. So I love how people think that one thing. Do you think they all went independent? I think most of them did, yeah. No, literally did not get smoked. But thanks for playing.
Nick, you can keep repeating how he got smoked unless your definition of a 1.5 point victory is getting smoked. That's not smoked. That's a victory, but it's not smoked.
The voters didn't disappear. They just no longer considered themselves part of the Democratic Party. So what? I'm not part of the Democratic Party. You know who I'm going to vote for probably 99.99% of the time? In the end, the only thing that matters when it comes to what party you're aligned, you are registered with, is if you're voting in the primaries, which I think more people need to vote in the primaries. But that's beside the point in this conversation. Actually, I personally never said the economy was great. I said we recovered well coming out of a global. Actually, he said what Banks said.
I said what the World Bank said, Wendell, and I'll let the World Bank speak for itself.
He agrees.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah. The economy was better in Biden's last year in office than it is right now.
The voters didn't.
By any metric you want to look at it by, any metric.
Not all the voters didn't. 1.3% more. 1.5% more. That's not the voters. Enough did. Okay. That doesn't make it a landslide.
Yeah, now you've whittled it down to enough did, huh, Wendell? Sort of killing your own point there, aren't you? As usual.
Inflation from 9 to 2 point, what was it? 2.3 by the time he actually left office?
Yeah, 2.3%.
Now
It's
it's
about
back up to
4.1.
4.2.
Yeah, something like that. And the wholesale prices are up to 6.5.
Yeah. And part of that was during a global pandemic that was made worse because of the dumbass choices by this president.
Oh, no need to shake your head, Mike. Wendell's not here for any type of rational discussion. That's not his purpose here.
I know. Actually, it was 2.3% when he left. It was sub 3% when he left office, like January's inflation report. Yeah. 2.9%.
Well, for the 50th time, Wendell, we're coming out of the global pandemic, and our inflation rate was lower than other industrialized economies. But you can keep repeating the same statistics over and over. And you're leaving out the effect of tariffs on prices, which are no longer being counted in the inflation rate. The effective tariffs are real, but they're not being counted in the inflation rate.
Sorry. It got down to 2.3 from the moment the tariffs were enacted, and it's pretty much gone up ever since. I knew 2.3% was somewhere, but you've got a whole patriot front in your party. What is it now? 4.2. Current inflation is not just energy. It's energy, housing, food. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is just wild. They didn't have one, Wendell. The person that convinced this president to go for war has been saying that Iran is 2 weeks out from a nuclear weapon for the last 10 years. And no one else was stupid enough. No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
Wendell, we don't want anybody to have a nuke, Wendell.
We don't want us to have it.
No one should have them.
That horse is out of the barn.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree with Wendell on something. I'm about to get hit with lightning now.
And you know, all this president has done is convince Iran and a lot of other countries that the best thing they can do is have a nuclear weapon if they want to be allowed to do whatever they want. That's all we've done. And now the two countries on either side of the Strait of Hormuz are going to start like charging fees to go through the strait. Well, no, Wendell, you think that we've stopped Iran from doing anything. No, we've encouraged them to do it. Yes, they are. They literally have put together an agreement between them to start charging people to go through the strait. They announced it.
Plus, Iran has said that they will not use the $300 billion to rebuild their infrastructure, but will use it in any way they see fit, including on their military and nuclear programs.
Iran's. Yes, so does this president that for some reason you believe. You did not remove a dictator from Venezuela. There's just another dictator in Venezuela. Is no different. Literally put his vice president, who by every metric is worse. Yeah, but that's like saying we removed a dictator in Iran when it's just his son, who is arguably worse.
And the IRGC, who it's not arguable at all, they are worse.
Yes, but there's a bounty. There's an arrest warrant out for Bibi. Do you think we should go in and grab him too?
And Vladimir Putin, for that matter.
Should we go and get them? I would argue both of them are as bad as the president of Venezuela as leaders. No, not arresting them, going in and taking them. Literally invading the country and taking them. Hey, Vonda. So basically that also means you're okay if an arrest warrant gets put out for our president, that they can come in and take ours. I would disagree that Israel is an ally.
Well, even if you accept the construct that Israel is an ally and a democracy, are you saying that that precludes us from criticizing its government and from criticizing Bibi Netanyahu? I mean, are you actually saying that?
I disagree that they're defending themselves. I would argue that they are committing genocide. But arrest him? Yeah, he's got an arrest warrant against him. So do you care about the law or not? You think being an ally means you should support them without question? Is that what you believe being an ally means? Not UN/international law. You don't believe in international law, so you don't believe in the law. Got it. But thank you for letting us know. How about Mitch's wife running to China? I'll be very interested to see what ends up coming out about this whole situation.
You're talking about McConnell?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to fill people in, there's a lot of misinformation about that floating around, not surprisingly, on TikTok. Contrary to popular belief, Governor Andy Beshear would not appoint the next United States Senator from Kentucky if Mr. McConnell should pass away. In fact, under Kentucky law, there has to be a special election. There would be no interim senator at all until after the special election.
The UN is extremely corrupt. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I would argue the only country that is corrupt in the UN right now is the United States. I mean, common sense, you should know the Republicans have them in their party, and you guys still vote for them.
By the way, for the record, the International Court is an independent body that sets its own rules. It is not It is tangentially attached to the UN, but it has its own founding treaty and is an independent body. And the United States is not a member of the International Court.
Oh, the only thing that makes you one, Nick, is having a tattoo. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that was the only requirement. Huh. Interesting.
No, they just have no. They not only do they have the tattoos, but they have group chats. They march on the lawns of public places, make demonstrations. Oh yeah, plenty of other ways that they exercise their racism.
I said I didn't realize that the only thing that was required to be considered a schmatzi was a tattoo. I didn't realize that was it. Yeah, I know. Hexeth. The most powerful country in the world does not put themselves under the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. Yeah. And I think that's wrong. I think that's stupid. I think that makes us look weak, which we are in that respect. The fact that we believe that there are people in this country that believe that the only oh shoot, I need to go. Sorry, I got to be somewhere at noon. I was keeping track of time and then I lost track. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Sorry, I have to like really jet because I got to get out of here because I'm running late already. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you all. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the gifts. I will see you guys tomorrow morning, 9:30 on the tube, 10 o'clock here. Please go watch the videos over on the tube. I'm interviewing tons of cool people, and a lot of cool new interviews coming up too. But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys are amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys. I'm going.